Okay, so it's been quite a while since I've recorded anything. Forgive me. Life has just been absolutely slamming me every day. So I apologize, but and this one's going to be really short, but I am working on one about the heavens that I believe are things that Heavenly Father is showing me to clean up some of my understandings of what the heavens are declaring. And I'm hoping to get that out during the Christmas break. Anyway, but where I wanted to take you today was Isaiah chapter 19. I spend a lot of time in Isaiah 19. It's one of those chapters that really opened my eyes to where we are and who we are. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I interpret Egypt in the book of Isaiah as it pertains to latter-day prophecy, because Isaiah also has prophecies that have already been fulfilled, right? But as it pertains to latter-day unfulfilled prophecies, Egypt is what is today North America, primarily the United States. And and it's really interesting. Let's go right here to verse, sorry, I'm having a hard time with my mouse. Yahweh, verse 14, Yahweh has mingled, by the way, I do say Yahweh simply because it's a very quick way for me to say Yod He Wow He, which is what we have here. Let me just pull this up because I'm going to take you to the actual original Hebrew. Notice it is Yod He Wow He, or some people say Vav He. Yod He Wow He. That is what we have. We do not know what the vowels are. We can make assumptions, but we do not know. And some people get upset if you don't say Yahweh or Yahovah, or and then some people get upset that you say Yahweh because it says in English the Lord. I'm hoping that we won't get all twisted up over that. The only reason why I say Yahweh is because for me, that is a way to verbally represent the fact that this is the name that was given to the Hebrew prophets for God. And it has been replaced in our scriptures with the Lord. But for me, that is vague. So when he's actually using his name, then I just want to be able to reference the fact that he's using his name. I'm also going to make mention here of the fact that I am of the opinion that Hebrew is not the true language of our Father in heaven. I don't believe it's what Adam was speaking when he was on the earth. We have the story of the Tower of Babel, and in the story of the Tower of Babel, we know that the languages were confounded. And I think that as a reference to that, we have here in Zephaniah telling us that all the languages were corrupted. Because let's just go through this. Therefore, wait for me, says Yahweh, until the day I rise up for plunder. My determination is to gather the nations to my assembly of kingdoms, to pour on them my indignation, all my fierce anger. All the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So we're supposed to wait until that day when he is going to assemble all the kingdoms together and then basically just pour out his fury on them. It says now in verse 9, this is the point I'm trying to get to, but I wanted to read verse 8 so we understood the timing. For then I will restore to the peoples a pure language. Because the language was confounded at the Tower of Babel. And then we had all of these new languages that covered the earth. And even those languages have been changed and corrupted and changed and corrupted and changed and corrupted. For then I will restore to the peoples a pure language. Why? That they all may call on the name of Yahweh to serve him with one accord. Remember, he changed the language because since they had one language, nothing could be kept from them. They would just keep growing in technology and understanding. But so we had this confusion of the languages, but he's going to restore to the peoples a pure language that they may call on the name of Yahweh to serve him with one accord. So there's, and then let me just go to, I don't know what version I'm in right now, but let's go to the KJV just to see how it terms it. It's a little bit different. It says, "For then I will turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent." So what I'm trying to say with this is that we shouldn't get too caught up on language right now. Because even if we become absolutely obsessed perfectionists about the Hebrew language, in the end, that's not the language. There is a pure language. And he tells us to wait on him. It'll be in his timing that it'll be restored to us. And right now, it cannot be a point of contention for his people. So once again, I say Yahweh simply so that we know that it is God's name that is being indicated in the scriptures there. And the Lord is a title. It's not a name. So it is just my way of making sure I understand that for whatever reason, he wanted the prophets to use his name there. Continuing on, Yahweh has mingled a perverse spirit in her midst. Whose midst? In Egypt's midst. Okay, this is talking about Egypt. Among Egypt, there is now within Egypt, there's a perverse spirit. And they have caused Egypt to err in all her work, who has the princes of Zoan and the princes of Noph. So one of these is the religious capital, and the other one is the religious capital. In other words, both their political leaders and their religious leaders. That's who has deluded Egypt. That's where the perverse spirit has come from, and has caused Egypt to err in all her work, as a drunken man staggers in his vomit. Neither will there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, palm branch or bulrush may do. So this is defined for us who the tail or the palm branch is. Isaiah chapter 9. I'm in verse 13. "For the people do not turn to him who strikes them, nor do they seek Yahweh Sabaoth. Therefore Yahweh will cut off head and tail from Israel, palm branch and bulrush in one day. The elder and honorable," in other words, the political leaders, those who have positions of authority over the people. This would even include judges, magistrates, city officials. He is the head. The prophet who teaches lies, he is the tail. So once again, it's both the political system and the religious system. So understanding who they are, neither will there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, palm branch or bulrush may do. So there will be no work for the civic leaders or the lying religious leaders to do. In that day, Egypt will be like women and will be afraid and fear, excuse me, because of the waving of the hand of Yahweh Sabaoth, which he waves over it. Now this is the verse I wanted to get to. "And the land of Judah will be a terror to Egypt." When I've read that before, because I was aware of the extreme power that, even though it's a tiny nation, that the tiny that the tiny nation of Israel wields. They are a very strong political power. And I knew about the Noahide laws and the move to try to enslave the rest of the people of the world. That, and I'm speaking not of the Jewish people as a whole. I'm speaking of a subset of the Jewish leaders, very zealous rabbis, who look upon Gentiles as not even being human, but rather animals. It's very interesting when you go and look at their writings. It's very warped. Anyway, so I thought that somehow they were going to cause fear to the people in Egypt, which, remember, is North America, largely the United States, but I think it can include to some degree Canada and Mexico, which he waves over it. But look at what it says. Look at why it says it'll be a terror to Egypt. And I don't know why, but I never understood this until recently. And the land of Judah will be a terror to Egypt. Everyone who makes mention of it will be afraid in himself. Why? He tells us why, and I don't know why I never clued into this. Because of the counsel of Yahweh Sabaoth, which he has determined against it. What is the subject against it? The land of Judah. That is the subject of the sentence. So there is a judgment that Yahweh has determined against the land of Judah. So I think that I'm wondering if there's going to be a great destruction that's going to come upon them. I know that they went through the invasion that they went through, and it was horrendous, right? But then they were still a strong military power and have gone and just pummeled the people that are in Gaza. So I don't think that's what this is talking about. I think that something terrible is going to happen, something so terrible that it'll strike terror in our hearts to see it. Probably because we're wondering if we're next. I mean, that would be why it would be a terror to us, because we would see ourselves meeting the same fate. Anyway, I thought that was fascinating, and I just wanted to share that one little snippet with you, and then pray for me. Just pray for me to stay focused, because there's something else that I really want to share with you guys that is pretty fascinating. Anyway, Yahweh bless. Shalom.